Wife's shocking death leads to unexpected miracle. It's been a while since I've written anything. In the last year and a half, everything in my world has gone downhill. First, when my wife Deborah's mother passed away, the inheritance was very large. This came as a surprise to me since Deborah and I had been together for over a decade, and I only had a partial understanding. Including the estate, the inheritance was in the millions. Then Deborah went back there to sort it all out. Then she insisted that I move there too, but there was no way in hell I wanted to do that. Having reached an impasse, I decided it was time to move on. Not exactly what a 76-year-old man wants to do. It was only a few months later our breakup was final, and then I found out too late that Deborah had contracted this COVID disease. I died. It was a shock, and it took me a long time to get over it. My 77th birthday passed, and all I did was go to the waterfront cafe, drink coffee, and chat with the fishermen. I'm lucky I have some money, and enough to not have to worry for the rest of my life. But that's not even the point. It's the fact that my wife has left, and I'm alone. I had a roommate. Her name is Kate. I've written about her. She's a cutie, and now works as a nurse at a hospital on the coast. It was convenient to have her around because she was a little naughty and a little ready, so we had fun from time to time. I may be old, but I'm still doing a great job, and I maintain that I don't look my age at all. But of course, Kate met some guy, and I met him too, and he turned out to be a lot better than a couple of assholes she'd dated before. He runs a machine shop, specializes in electronic and computer problems. Kate moved in with him, and I was left with no one. There's no shortage of obese, white-haired old ladies in this town. It's nice in the extreme, but it's worth it just to bed one of them, and she's tied to my front door. My neighbor, Walt Baker, he lives about 4 houses down. I mow his lawn and a few others in the summer for something to do, and I have a huge lawn mower. My own lawn I can mow with scissors, so like I said, there's plenty to do. When I pulled up to Walt's house, there was a side lane and a pretty nice backyard. So when I looked up, and there was Terry, his naked wife, standing in the window looking at me, I thought it was a fluke. Then I thought maybe the reflection was the reason she couldn't see me, but the lawnmower, she's not quiet, so if she's not deaf, she knew I was there. 2 weeks later, same thing. Just as I was finishing work, she came out with a glass of pink lemonade. Yes, naked. I hope you don't mind. I prefer to be naked in the house. A smile played on her face. Then she asked me to come in. I realized what was going on, and didn't go for other people's wives as is. Not that Terry was bad. In fact, she was very good-looking, but I just don't do other guys' wives. It was too much trouble. All I had to do was go to my bathroom and have sex with her. There was nothing else for me to do. Of course, by the fall of this year, our world was going downhill. Everywhere we looked, people in masks, thousands and thousands sick, some dying. Of course, I knew, after all, my ex-wife died from this thing. I have no idea why it didn't catch up with me at the same moment. There are only 2 ways to handle the situation. Lurk at home and go outside, fearing everyone and everything, only when there is no other option. Or I could say fuck it, and do whatever I want. I needed a woman by my side, someone I could share my life and my huge house with, someone I could trust, and of course, she had to be screened disease-free. Yeah, 77. Good luck with that, right? What are the chances of finding another Kate as a roommate? Not much, and none were a good fit. South, I put an ad out. Yeah, I know. What kind of ad could an old geezer like me put out to find a roommate who is good-looking, friendly, easy to get along with, willing, and up for a frolic? One person I knew who fit those requirements was my late wife Deborah and Kate, a girl Deborah had moved in with us when we were still together to help with her nursing studies. I placed an ad with an advertising agency I know, which accepts some of the more liberal ads. Spending the time to place an ad in the local paper was something I already knew. I wasn't expecting much response, but in the first week I got 187 ads, and all pretty close. About half of them sounded like ladies of the evening, many had a cog or not-so-cog, about the same thing you might find when trying to get a date. And there, I got the classiest response I could get. "Hello, my wife and I saw your ad and decided to take a chance. I am unemployed, and as you know, finding a job is impossible right now. It appears from your ad that you are looking for a woman for occasional personal attention in exchange for sharing your home. We are really having financial difficulties, so we would like to do this, and my wife and I would be happy to share with you." The letter was signed as Thomas and Karen. I checked their location. It was 10 miles from the coast. The picture showed a nice-looking couple in good shape, and Karen was strikingly beautiful. Yet, although their letter hinted at it, I wasn't sure exactly what it was about. I put that letter aside and looked through the others. Nothing particularly interesting was in there, but I picked up this strange reply and got curious. It listed a phone number, so I called. I had a short conversation with Thomas, who seemed pleasant enough. I finally asked what exactly he was offering, since everything up to that point had been mostly lies. "Since your ad was in this underground newspaper, we both assumed you'd be interested in something sexual," he told me. "I was really thinking about a roommate-girlfriend," I told him. "We're not swingers or anything, we're just desperate, and Karen told me she's up for it if it's okay with the guy." Even more curious, we arranged to meet at a coffee shop on the next street over. At that point, I wasn't too sure about this kind of situation. After all, I had given massages to married women in the past. And although there had been a few incidents that I had recounted in my stories, this one would be quite different. Our meeting went well. They looked exactly as they did in the photos. Thomas then stunned me by asking me if I wanted to have sex with Karen to see if we were compatible. I didn't expect that, but it had been quite some time, and Karen is indeed a very attractive woman. They followed me to my house, I gave them a tour, and they were pleased. I always keep the house clean and tidy. Thomas offered to go back to their place. He had some packing to do, so even if it doesn't work out, it still needs to be done. I was alone with a pretty young housewife in her 30s, and it was assumed we would have sex to see what I thought of this situation. Now I should be ashamed of myself. Taking advantage of another man's wife is not something to be proud of. But I wasn't hiding. I wasn't cheating. And every sign she gave me said not only that she wanted, but craves? I shouldn't say this, but I haven't been with another man since Tommy and I got married, so I'm really looking forward to it. "Doesn't he get upset at the idea?" I asked. We used to go to nude beaches and things like that. He's always reassured me that if I saw someone I liked, sex would be the order of the day. But so far, it just hasn't happened. And if this is a way for us to get back on our feet, I'll gladly agree. She smiled widely. I have to say, Karen's nude was pretty cute. She wasn't a model beauty. Her breasts tended to sag. And of course, she was ready. In seconds, she had my clothes off and we had sex. If anything, her talents at this easily equaled those of my late wife, and she surpassed anything I had known before. All of this turned me on as much as it hadn't turned me on in months, so much so that I only lasted a few minutes. I rolled over onto my back, thinking we were done, but Karen wasn't having it, and after a few minutes, she had me just as ready to go as much, if not more, than the first time. We were still in full swing when I heard Thomas in the living room, and it made me hesitate. "Don't stop, Danny. Thomas just brought a few things," she sighed. I thought that was presumptuous. I hadn't said I was going to be okay yet, but I was here having sex with the guy's wife, so I guess he just assumed. Or he was well aware of his wife's talents. I guess I should say I have no idea how long this situation will last. Thomas and Karen seem to be really in love with each other. He doesn't seem to be affected by what's going on. Perhaps he even likes the idea? I don't know, we've never discussed it. Karen is very sensitive to my schedule, so she slips into my bedroom when she thinks it's a good time, which is a little less than twice a week. The rest of the time she spends in the spare room with Thomas. I'm a convenience, I suppose. No modesty. We look like old married people. And that's okay. Interestingly, Sandy, my adopted daughter, came over to visit me, Karen was in the kitchen, and Thomas went off to look for work, which he's been doing every day since they moved in with me. So far, it's just short-term stuff, nothing permanent. Sandy, of course, was very curious. I explained that Thomas and Karen are having a hard time and I'm letting them live here until things improve. She looked at me. Sandy is very smart. She grinned and patted my hand. "Whatever makes you happy, Daddy." Sandy knows me very well. Happy? I guess in a way, yes. I would have thought I would feel guilty about the situation, but oddly enough, I don't. I'm also well aware that it won't last long. Sooner or later, Thomas will find a job. In the meantime, we have a lively wife who takes excellent care of the house, does the shopping I hate to do, and makes love to her 2 men. That's really what we have, a situation with Karen and her 2 men, one a young man, the other a grandfather. In the last 6 weeks or so, I haven't even thought about looking for someone. All I do now is fish on the pier and go down to the cafe to sit with the guys from the crab boat. One old guy named Russie, I bet you how he got that nickname, commented that I have a pretty girl living with me. He and I talk a lot. I think he knows where every crab in the ocean lives and what their names are. I just shrugged and he laughed. "You straight up perked up when she came to live with you." He chuckled. "It seems like a lot of people here are aware of my affairs. With Deborah gone, I have nothing to go back to. Everything is ahead of me. And that's a good thing, too. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you."